Unexplained 2026 2026 Never saw you were dinner far away, far away.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Festival of the Unexplained live stream. Hope to see many of you getting involved in the chat and getting involved and liking and sharing these live streams. So tonight we have a brilliant speaker announcement set for you. Just before I go into that, I will hand you over to my brilliant partner in crime, Karen, and she's going to give you a little bit of information. Okay.
Brilliant. I think you're lying, but thank you ever so much for that fantastic introduction.
You're welcome. Can pay me later.
So I just want to give everyone a little bit of an update on the ticket options because things have changed a little bit in a good way. So as you're all aware, we have the Ultimate VIP Angelic ticket, which includes, that's the all-inclusive. All-inclusive mean it includes your accommodation, your meals, and the entire weekend. And your tea and your coffee all weekend as well, Friday till Sunday. The only thing it doesn't include is obviously any alcohol. That is up to you to purchase that yourself. And we've then got another option that we have decided to do for you, which is the Angelic VIP, which does not include the accommodation, but it includes everything else. For those of you that are more local and don't want to stay at the hotel or you'd like to go and stay somewhere else, just to remind you, it is Worcester White House Hotel, which is a four-star hotel, spa hotel in Worcester. Our other ticket options, which are now live on our website, are the Phoenix Gala evening ticket, which includes your 3-course dinner and our after party. And then your fourth option is the Phoenix ticket, which is just the after party. Those are your 4 ticket options on the website live now. So if you go on our website, www.festivaloftheunexplained.com, which is down there, and you can see all the ticket options across there and all the information on those tickets. That is it for me for now. I will hand you back over to our lovely Jay.
Well, before we introduce our latest guest speaker tonight, I believe we've got a few festival birthdays.
We have got some festival birthdays, our festival family birthdays.
Yeah, long-time supporters, Lynn and Bob Peters, who should be in the chat tonight. From myself and obviously from yourself, Karen, we'd like to wish you many happy returns. And we look forward to seeing you in November.
Well, hopefully before.
Yeah. It'd be a lot sooner than that. Shall we get started?
Yes. So without further ado, Jay is the man in the hot seat, and he's going to do our intro for us this evening.
Okay, so our next speaker is someone whose work sits at the crossroads of technology, experimental physics, and the exploration of consciousness itself. For many years, he has been deeply involved in investigating the possibility that communication may not be limited by the boundaries we currently place on science. Through his work in New World Science, he has explored ideas surrounding superluminal communication, advanced signal detection, and the possibility that information and perhaps even consciousness may travel in ways we do not yet fully understand. Some of you may already recognize his work from the television. He spent several years as an investigator and technical specialist on the long-running paranormal series Most Haunted, where he became known for bringing experimental devices and cutting-edge investigative techniques into the field of paranormal research. He's also appeared in live broadcast investigations such as Celebrity Haunted Hotel Live and other television or televised paranormal specials, where he has demonstrated technologies designed to capture and analyze unusual electronic signals and voice phenomena. What makes his work particularly fascinating is his own passion for building and experimenting with his own machines and technologies designed to test bold ideas about communication, information, and the unseen forces that may exist around us. Whether you approach these ideas from a scientific, philosophical, or purely curious perspective, tonight's talk promises to challenge all those assumptions and explore possibilities that sit right on the edge of what we currently understand about reality. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Eamon Van Harris. Welcome.
Hello, you okay?
How are we doing?
That was a really nice intro there. Thank you. It's the nicest thing anybody said for a while. I've been rescuing my children tonight to try and get them to sleep. So this is it's nice. It's a nice change in atmosphere. So thank you for that.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. So obviously, you know, the second Karen told me that you were coming on board for this year's event. I know we've tried to get you previously, and for whatever reason, the stars didn't align.
No.
But the second she mentioned your name and like mentioned a little bit about your background, I was instantly excited and enthralled to speak to you. So tell us a little bit about what the work is that you do exactly.
Yeah. So to give you a bit of background, it's funny because to be honest, I took a little bit of a break out of it, and for like I guess in the last since Most Haunted, I've been in and out of it. And when I went on there, I wanted to just go into a different direction and focus on my work. And so I tried different things out, but I mainly did it for myself as well, to be honest, to just make contact myself. And that's how it all started. I think if you've got that passion to just do it because you love doing it, rather than go, okay, I want to get this on a broadcast or a live stream.
Yeah.
I do that because I actually just enjoy sharing. I like going, hey, look what I've got here. You know, like I want to share that with people so they can see it. So basically the work started. I've got quite a long background of strange stuff that's happened in my life. Like at age 3, I passed away for a good few. I think it was nearly 8 minutes. And I was saved by somebody, strangely enough, called Eamon, who happened to be passing the building at the time, it's not a very common name unless you're in Ireland, maybe. And when I came back around, I became quite a curious kid who was obsessed with lights and white noise and radios, and I would shine torches into my eyes and stuff. So I'm actually writing a book. I've been writing it since 2010. So I am going to finish it. Yeah, and I'm like, I just need to release it. And I keep thinking of new stuff and thinking, just put it in another book. But so there's quite a lot of that in my background to talk about, because there's a bit of a build up to actually getting the first EVP I ever got. 2009, was it 2009? Yeah, 2009. One of my best mates passed away in 2005. I think it was 2005. And I remember one night we were talking after a night out, and we were just listening to vinyls, and he was playing Stairway to Heaven to me, but we were talking about life after death, and I wasn't a big believer. I was a little bit, I'm not sure. I always have to have rational thinking with everything.
Yeah.
And I think deep down I thought there's got to be something, but I was kind of put off after. I mean, I watched paranormal shows. I used to, like, back then, everybody was watching Most Haunted, but then I thought, nah, I don't know. And anyway, we had a bet of, like, whoever passes away in the future comes back and says hello or haunts the other one. And he died about 6-7 weeks after that. It wasn't long, and it was just, he was really young. It was just, I think he had an epileptic fit, and it was just so strange because he was 25 years old, and it was just it hit me actually quite a lot, and it made me look at life a bit differently. And I thought, ooh, it's weird that we had that conversation, and I had all these strange things happening. Like, I'd get in the car and I'd have the radio tuned in, but it started to start searching for frequencies by itself. And I remember when I'd given him a lift on one of the nights out when we were going to his and dropping the car off and then going out afterwards, I remember we had a problem with the radio where it started tuning by itself. This is before he obviously passed away. So there's loads of things that you start putting together and you're thinking, that's really odd. It's almost like the film White Noise, which ironically came out just after, I think it was just after, would it have been around the same time of his passing? No, after. So I think he died in 2004 at the end, and from there, like, to fast forward, like, obviously life happened. And there was lots of odd stuff. And then I had a little BlackBerry. Do you remember them little BlackBerries with the keyboard?
Yeah. I totally
thought
remember.
it was so cool with that. I was like, I really look good here. And, look at me sending emails with a keyboard on my phone.
I think we're all guilty of that.
Did we have, was it BlackBerry Messenger or something?
That's it.
I didn't have one, but I remember my nieces having them, and like they were the cool kids at school because they had them basically, and they're all like BBM or whatever it was called. I don't remember what it was called, something like that.
It was like the WhatsApp of its day. Oh my god! And
it was a WhatsApp, right?
We're all showing our age now. Come on, guys.
Definitely.
And I remember so I got the phone, and I started to get into meditation and stuff, and there was a stream near where I moved to. So I thought one day, I'll just record it because it's this really nice running water sound, so white noise sound. And when I got back, I was listening to it, and I thought, I'll meditate to this. And so I've got my eyes closed, I'm meditating, I'm going, that's odd. And it's like, it sounds like whispering on it. I thought, okay, so get my headphones on, and there's all this weird. It would start off like little pops and bangs, almost like somebody's tapping the phone or like muffling the microphone. But I thought, I had the phone like that. So I sent the phone back to T-Mobile at the time. And then I got another one. Happened again. Sent it back. It got to a point where they wouldn't send me another one. So I got four of them. I was like, I have to investigate what this is. So I went to the same spot and recorded again, and I get this time it sounds a bit clearer. So I send it to a friend of mine because I work in the video games industry. So I sent it to this audio expert in Canada. He worked at Ubisoft, and he takes it into his studio and he cleans it up. And we didn't really have the tech. When I think, God, I sound like I'm old here, but technology's advanced so much. But back then, it was better to get an audio, like a sound engineer, to listen to it and clean it up for you and send it back. And I remember he said, "Where did you get this?" Because it's two people talking. It became quite audible, and it was a lady speaking to a man saying, "Who is that?" And he says, "That's my grandson." And she says, "Right, I've got to go now." And he says, "Okay, see you later." And then I hear this guy say, "Eamon, watch your ankle," because I'd sprained it some weeks earlier. So I was being really careful with how I was walking. So when he sent me that, I was like, okay, that's really weird. And I didn't tell anybody for ages because I didn't want to be judged either. I thought, no, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be something. So I did the natural thing and just went out at like all hours of the day, night, morning, just recording. Became a bit of an obsession because I thought it was just that spot. It was
Yeah.
happening everywhere. Then one
And
night, go on, sorry.
just to interject on that, was it always around water, or did you
No, it was.
further?
Well, I assumed it was that spot, but
Yeah.
then it was happening without any noise. But when I was putting white noise, so it was the white noise from that water that was producing that. So because if you think about the way a stream sounds, it's
Yeah.
pretty close to what it might be brown noise. It could be white. It's
Yeah.
like a mixture. So it was the perfect mix
Yeah.
really for the
Yeah.
voices to work. Looking back at it now, um, and then I went home and I stayed up till about 3 o'clock in the morning playing FIFA on the computer. I had work the next day, but I was just chilling out. I just started a new business. I was about 24, I think. And I thought, this is cool. I'm working from home. I can pick my own hours. And I should have gone to bed. And I had Talk Sport of all stuff on a radio. And it was an old radio with a dial that would like blink when the signal was coming through.
Yeah.
And I felt weird all of a sudden, and the radio just went silent, but it still showed that somebody was trying to talk. And I don't know why. I just thought I should record, so I picked up the BlackBerry, put it near the radio, and it just said it was the same voice as my granddad, just saying "Go to bed,"
Wow.
and I started freaking out, and then the fire alarm went, and it was just this
Huh.
mix of so. I'm going to admit it actually for the first time. So I went to bed and I covered myself up with a duvet.
Yeah.
So I put the duvet, I put my phone in the drawer. I was like, I don't know what this is, guys. If this is a prank, but I'm not doing this. But I was curious,
Yeah.
and then a few days later, I thought I'll try again. You just get curious, and you go,
Yeah, you do.
try again. And then that's when my friend came through, and he said, I think something like "Boo, I'm here," and he called me by this nickname because I was trying to lose weight at the time, and he kept calling me Chubsy. So he used to really annoy me, and that's the word when you just get that contact, and it's just that one word that someone. I was like,
no one else would know.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
was like an inside
Confirmation.
joke. And he came through and he said, Chubsy, it's me. It's something like "It's amazing here." And he now features in a lot of my work now. He's working with a team over that. Like some of the recordings that come through that I'll play, they're like 50, 60-second two-way communication where and one of them I ask him to describe where he is. And you can find that actually on the New World Science page somewhere. And he talks about a cottage, and he says they can do testing of a box they've got, and he talks about opportunistic vigor, which is energy that can just be created from nowhere, like instantly.
Yeah.
So and there's all this stuff. So I've been on a journey. Like this year, I'm excited because I'm really launching it. I'm ready, and I've dropped my inhibitions now. I'm just going to go for it.
Right.
And there's a massive archive of stuff that even I forgot about. I go back and I go, oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's got to be like over 1,000 hours of recordings of stuff that's not even claiming to be from the spirit world, stuff that doesn't claim to have ever been here, and it all somehow interlinks. And
it is weird, isn't it? What links A to B and B to C. Famously, I always myself remember the skull experiment.
Yeah, that always intrigued me.
Yeah, the little grey beings that came through in the spirit, in the seance, a spiritual practice. So, what links that to that? I've got my own theories on that, but we'll continue anyway. But have you ever had anything other than sort of voices from beyond? Have you had any communications or?
Yeah, I mean, I had. So there's a lot that I didn't mention at the time because people asked me, how have you made this machine? And at the time, I think now we're a bit more open with the world.
Yeah.
And the fact is, and I read this about Nikola Tesla, like ideas would pop up in his head and he couldn't explain them. And it's the same. Like, I'm not saying there's any, because I don't want to pin myself into like mediumistic stuff or anything, but for this specific thing, I would have dreams. And if I was trying to problem solve how to do something with a machine, I'd get it through a dream. Like a few days later, you'd dream, and I'd wake up and I'd be like, right. And I had a notebook by the bed because I'd ask the question, and then in a dream, I felt like I was going to this place. Almost, it wasn't a school, but I would be shown like what I need to do or some ideas to try. So then that would, because I'm not assigned, like I'm not, engineering is in my family, like electronics is in my family as
Yeah,
inventions and hobby stuff, and I do understand a lot of physics, but I wouldn't say like I'm qualified in the sense of, you get like a PhD physicist in that area. But what I
yeah,
am good at is my own specific thing I've created.
yeah,
Like, when
yeah.
you invent something and it's just, I just know that really well.
You get it?
But,
Yeah,
and so it's really difficult to go to somebody. So how did you get this idea? And you go, well, it just came to me, and then trying to explain it. But so I'm reverse engineering everything. That's how the scalar thing came about. I mean, the main thing is because I was asking like how is it that you're able to communicate? Because it's not radio waves, and I just asked, and they said scalar waves. So I thought, right, I know I've heard of them. I'd
yeah,
heard of them at that point, and I did a bit of like research. We did some, again, reverse engineering to try and look into it, and then that's when and it still is. That's the problem. It's kind of like it's still experimental physics because it's
yeah,
really difficult to, because scalar can be. I mean, Nikola Tesla talked about it being used in warfare. There's
yeah,
things where they say like, is it HARP potentially use it to
yeah.
affect the
The
weather?
manipulation. Yeah,
Yeah, and it can do a hell of a lot of things. It's difficult to measure it.
yeah,
That's why I think they used waves, hertz, or yeah, hertz.
yeah,
I think from what I've been reading anyway, and so it kind of makes sense. It did make sense actually because scale is bi-directional, so you can connect with it rather than having a radio wave going one way and then you have to create another radio wave to go the other way. Scalar made sense because it's an open connection that's two ways, so
right.
it's flowing in both directions, but it doesn't behave. This is why, at my personal belief, why
Yeah,
we can't really do a lot with it in this world is because it doesn't behave how we think it should do it according to our
yeah,
physical law. So there's things like it can penetrate the Earth's core. It doesn't get
yeah,
affected by a building being in a way. It just goes through everything.
yeah.
And there's been some experimental studies on it that I'd found, again, just going down a rabbit hole on the internet,
Right.
where people had used it. There was some prisoners it was used on, and they upped their selenium levels, and they believe that if your selenium levels are quite high, that your brain will actually absorb more scalar, and they managed to broadcast something in scalar waves, and these prisoners could actually hit. They didn't have anything on; they could just hear
Hmm.
stuff like as if it was wearing a pair of headphones, people talking in their heads, and so there's
Wow.
stuff like that. But it goes back to, it's just so not sketchy, but it's still early days. But
Yeah,
that's what they say they
it,
use. So
it is, but the crazy thing with what I do myself is you find out, especially like, some of the papers that have been released recently, that the
yeah,
US government and US military has experimented with this stuff for decades.
yeah.
We're so far ahead of what we deem, as acceptable science, that
Well, then,
this fringe science, they've looked into remote viewing, MK Ultra, for instance.
yes,
You
that's
know,
right. There was documents, wasn't there, about
yeah,
that with remote viewing that were
yeah.
released. Um,
Now you're getting guys coming forward. I spoke with the last guest about this, that a guy called Hal Puthoff, who's consulted for every three-letter agency in the US. And he was saying they were actually able to track a Russian fighter plane that came into American airspace. And they used remote viewing because they wanted to see what the tech
insane.
was on it.
Yeah,
So when someone like that speaks, it's kind of like I sit and take notice,
there,
incredibly
there,
smart.
I feel like there's a lot of. That's the thing. I think the world's different because when I
Yeah,
was coming out with this, because I actually said when I was doing these recordings, because I take everything at, I treat everything as it is at that point. Like
yeah,
I won't like, I'm not a religious person, but I wouldn't disrespect it. It's kind of,
yeah,
I feel like I'm just a student of the earth. I treat people like in a good way. You know, I don't have any specific belief. So because I think if you have like a really rigid belief in something, it can stop you from being open to, you know, to things in the future. And back in like 2010, I wanted to release everything. I thought, nah, it's just, it will fall flat on its face and I won't follow it up. I'll end up just never doing this. So I'll do it privately. So I actually missed them years because when it was a secret, it was exciting. There was no expectation. And there was a group of us, a small group of us, to come round to my house, and we'd set it up with tea and coffee and whatnot. And I'd surround the place with speakers, dim the lights, just for the relaxation, really. And we'd do like a meditation, and then we'd open the machine up and we'd start to speak to people. But then we started experimenting with, let's see, these recordings I've got, I think if I released, I'd get into a hell of a lot of trouble, and they're clear. And and we were asking, like, you know, if somebody's passed away and we've got this contact, you would ask for a lot of different people, and some of them that come through, there was people who confirmed where a bullet came from when they were assassinated. There was people who were upset about setups that happened when they passed away and were taken out of the public. There's a lot that I've recorded, and I thought I'll keep hold of it, but I won't do anything with it. Let's get the basic stuff of like, hello, we got, you know, and then I'll go into that, you know, in maybe 10 years time. And but it was exciting. Then after that, we'd stand outside for a bit and just look back at reality and go, did we actually just do that? Like, is this real? And it was exciting because it just made us open our minds and think about, like, what is this world we're living in right now then? You know, is it a simulation of some sort? And we were thinking that back then, and now we're starting to go, like CERN, the multiverse stuff.
That's not
everything's
that's a huge hadron collider, right? For anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, and it's kind of scary actually, that when you think about what it could do, and there's stuff like that as well with it. I saw the study where they observed, I don't know if it was CERN, but somebody had done this study. It's on the internet, trustworthy. And if you look at atoms, so atoms would say, imagine they're in a state, but if you leave the room, they start doing stuff differently. But if you look at them, if they see that you're observing them, atoms behave differently.
Yes, I've seen that.
Why is that? Yeah. So there's things like that we need to be curious of. Does that mean we're in a program that it opens up an entire can of worms?
The thing that's always interesting me is, like, I'm big into the consciousness theory, and how things like ayahuasca have worked, DMT in the past. Indigenous tribes have been using this for thousands of years. And some would say, in terms of this, what we now define as consciousness, maybe they had that more figured out than what we currently do, as we worship more technology.
Yeah.
And I think you're spot on with what you say, where you've got to be so open to all possibilities rather than sort of, being typecast or
this is the only way.
It's not. And at the moment, with the vast frequency that information's coming out now, you can go to sleep and wake up on the wrong side of history tomorrow morning. So
I'm going to steal that. I like
that. It's not that I'm not interested, by the way, and I'm very quiet. It's just the fact that I'm just really intrigued and really interested, because this is really not my kind of field of things then. Because not obviously, but because I do the mediumship in all of that. So I like using equipment. I've got a variety of equipment. I've got all sorts of stuff. And you talked about different frequencies and the white noise, and as you know, we had Ron and Lourdes come to a previous convention, and you know them really well, don't you, Eamon?
Great people.
And we did an experiment with them on the Sunday night before we went home, basically. And it was so interesting. The things that were coming through, and the questions we were asking, and we were getting direct responses.
Yeah.
And I've had that in the past, when you've done EVP and you've, like you said, you clean it up and everything else, and and you hear those responses, or when you use spirit radio and do it that way, or you do the Esther's method, which is another thing I like to do. But I've done the Esther's method a couple of times, but I've not really got involved with it. I tend to just sit on the outside and observe and listen, because obviously, because of what I do, I want to experience other people doing the experiments, basically. But we have had, in the past, last year we did an experiment, the investigation, where we did the Esters, and the 3 people were on it. I've only ever known in the past either 1 person or 2 at the most. But last year, the team Wednesday Paranormal, they had actually had 3. And it was mind-blowing, because one person would say something, then somebody else would say something, or they'd say something at the same time, or one after the other, they'd all say something, but it basically was a whole sentence, but between 3 people.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah.
It was crazy. I've never. Yeah, it was really strange, because like one person would say something, and then somebody else, the other person would chip in, and then the third person would, but it would complete the whole sentence, and they were all talking about exactly the same thing, and they were obviously all communicating, hearing from the same people. So like, I find all this really interesting from a different point of view, because like I said, doing the mediumship, that's one part of it. But then delving in using different types of equipment, and I'm very much learning still about frequencies and all that type of thing. So to sit here listening to you 2 talking, and Jay's got a lot more understanding about it than I have, I just find it really intriguing and interesting. Because we've had a few EVPs that I've experienced myself in the past on investigations, one being at a previous festival, because we'd done the festivals previously at Bosworth, and I couldn't tell you how many investigations there. It's ridiculous, even outside of the festival. And that year we knew kind of what questions to ask to get responses via EVP. And there was a direct, clear response. It's actually, I think it's on the festival Facebook page. And Eddie asked, where were you when you were killed? And the response was, in the woods. And it was the Wraith Chasers, actually. They were doing the recording, and they played it straight back. And everybody in the room, it wasn't a case of, somebody said, I think that's what I heard. And everyone jumped on the bandwagon and said, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Everybody, it was clear. And like I said, it was that clear. We've actually put it up. We actually put it on the festival page after that convention, because you can hear it.
I love stuff like that. I love when you get, like you say there, where you get something where everybody goes, yeah, that's what it says. I think when you get, and it's interesting what you say actually with the medium side, because I think something I was always worried about admitting it publicly. I was very careful, because people like to put you in boxes. So if you say, and they go, here we go, he's a me, and you go, right, but it's not that. This has come through, and I've either been inspired or I've picked up information from somewhere on this specific thing. So with the devices, realistically, if I need to be around for him, like I need to be, it's something that works for me. And I didn't think that was the thing. I thought at first when I was doing it, I thought it's this is working because of this, that, and the other, and it has to be at this certain frequency or whatever. It's just, and actually it didn't matter, because then I started to I was getting them come through the telephone at one point on the on the landline. There was your handheld handsets, handheld, what would you call it? The wireless ones, cordless.
Yeah. I know what you mean. The cordless ones.
Where am I from? Them wireless things, the radio. So I was getting interruptions on that and talking. Then it was on my laptop. Then it was coming, at the time I had Skype, and it was coming through on Skype. People like, Amy, can you turn that down? I'm going, turn what down? And and they're recording it and sending it back,
Wow.
and it's these same whispers. And if
Wow.
you look back on history, and you look even someone like Ron and Laudes, and or if you think about like Friedrich Jürgensen, Raude, the people from the past, they've always had somebody on the other side that's initiated the contacts, because without that, it can't work unless you get the odd snippet of EVP that might come through. Sometimes and then you never get it again. But like with mine, I mean, I'll show on the talks, like you hear the operator. There's a whole thing about who controls
Don't
it.
reveal too much. Don't reveal too much.
Yeah, yeah. And but yeah, so you'll find out. It's quite again, it's a rabbit hole. So I'll have to get prepared because I've got extra stuff to put in it. So I'm excited about that. And but yeah, so I think that on the medium side, because when I think now, like I would just get this instinct I need to switch the machine on now. For some, and then I get like a great, like that night when I was sat playing FIFA, like playing the computer, and I look at the radio, it's gone silent. And why did I think I need to record? You know, and I look back now at different things that have happened. Like meeting John and working with him and him passing away. We started our job on the same day. We were just like best mates. You know, it was brilliant. And
would you say that's strictly down to coincidence, or would you call that synchronicity?
I like that synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
It's
too much for it not to be.
Yeah.
There's so much more we could delve into, and there's so much more we could talk to you about, and so many more questions that we could ask.
Absolutely.
We don't want to reveal much more.
Yeah.
No.
I'll save a Q&A session.
We want everyone to come along and listen to you talk and to experience, you know, and also not just that. We'd love to. Tonight's announcement. We'd love to have you back in the future.
Absolutely.
For us to you know, actually have a more full in-depth conversation, because I was intrigued anyway, and last year I was so disappointed but you know, it was one of those things, you know,
I'm excited
it's one of those
for this
things.
year.
It was unfortunate, you know, you couldn't get back. You know, life
I'll tell you something, actually. This is really weird. So my journey with all of it, when you changed it to Worcester, was like, what? Because that I moved to Worcester, and that's where it all started for me, and I moved away. And I was only talking about it a few weeks before we spoke. I was talking to my wife about it, and I said I've got this feeling about Worcester again, because what I thought was a really tough time ended up being like a life-changing, like I needed that development. And then when you said about going down there, I was like, that is...
I know, because I sent Eamon the message.
Because the date's significant.
He was like, you know that I used to live there? And I was like, what? You did? And he's like, yeah. Right. So then we got into this full-blown conversation about the fact that he used to live there and everything else. And I was like, well, it's literally like less than half an hour away from me. And as if you like used to live there. I was like, what? Never knew that about you until we started chatting about moving the festival to Worcester.
Yeah.
And I never even knew that you even ever lived there before.
No, I've not given away. I've barely. Do you know when I think about it? Like, I just came on air with all the stuff I've done over the years, and just went this, and everyone's like, "Who is Aim?" And I thought, yeah, I need to tell. I need to show that side of it. All I've done is just put EVPs out, and then I disappeared, and everyone's like, "What happened to that?"
What happened to Eamon Van Harris? Is just like 1 here, 1 minute, and now he's reappeared.
So I'm going to tell the truth now, and just actually tell people who I am.
So just before we wrap this up tonight, just give our audience, and without giving too much away, obviously, what to expect when they come to see you.
Yeah, I think it will be, first of all, I want it to be fun. I'm not going to do quizzes and stuff, but I think it will be, it's a message of hope, actually. It's about talking, but it's talking more about my story and how it all came to be, because it might resonate with people. I think if people are like looking for things in life, maybe they've gone through a tough time or anything like that. Yeah. And I think all of that and the things that have come through will just, I think it'll leave people feeling quite happy, hopefully.
No, I love
But
that, man.
also with the recordings that
Mhm.
I'll play, I think there'll be someone there that has shocked people, and then we should be able to do a live demonstration as well for the audience.
Wow, that'd be
Well, I want November to be this weekend.
Yeah, me
because
too. Me too.
I'm
Can't
really,
be
I'm
sooner.
really excited to. 'Cause obviously, we've had conversations.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of aware of some of the things. I don't know what
I've,
to say.
I've
without
already
saying
started
anything.
work now, like to make sure
Yeah,
it's
Mate,
yeah,
I
you
love
said
it.
you've already
I love
started
that.
it. But yeah, like some of the things you've told me already. I'm like, oh, I want to hear it now. I want to hear it now. I want to experience it now. But we've got to wait. Unfortunately, we have to wait until November.
So you know what to do, guys. Get your tickets if you want to come and see Eamon. I'm excited. Karen.
Yeah, like I said, we'd love to have you back. And I know we've been chatting to you for quite a while this evening, but you've got so much to offer, and you've got such a wealth of knowledge and experiences. Like we could just carry on talking to you for hours. We could listen to you for hours, but no, generally, I'm really interested in everything you've had to say. And
thank you.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear. I definitely want to hear more. And so, if you want to hear more, firstly, come back and see us again when we have Eamon back later in the year. But if you're as intrigued as what I am and interested in his work and everything else, then grab your tickets, come and join us in November, because this is not just a talk. This is not just going to be a talk. It's not, it's going to be interactive. And, I've already learned things just from the last half an hour. So goodness knows what I'm going to learn when you actually do come in November. So yeah, guys, grab your tickets, come and join us. It's going to be an amazing weekend. We've got more speakers to announce. This year, we haven't even told you around about how many speakers we've got or anything. We've just said, this is the next one. This is the next one.
I like that. Intrigue.
Yes. So thank you ever so much for joining us this evening. Thank you for chatting to us both and for all the information. And yeah, you've really piqued interest. There's people in the comments. Karen says amazing stuff. Can't wait.
Be hooked.
They're going to be hooked. Yeah, and people are commenting. But because we were both so interested in what you had to say, apologies everyone in the audience. We've not actually popped your comments on or anything else because I think we're both just so intrigued and happy to sit and listen that we kind of forgot. So we do apologize.
I got carried away there. It's nice.
No, that's all right.
You meet like-minded people, and then that's
Oh man, I love this stuff. This is what I'm
brilliant. So we're going to put you in the studio. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We'll say good night, and we're just going to say goodbye to the audience. So thank you, Eamon.
Thank you for everyone who's tuned in tonight as well and taking time out of their schedule to tune in.
Yes, so thank you, everybody.
Comment, please.
It's really sorry, Jared. That's really rude of me. Yeah, thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. It's very much appreciated, and thank you to Jay for all his amazing research and being the front man of the festival chat again this evening.
It's been a lot of fun. It always is.
But it was, it's really, really interesting chatting to Eamon. And I think you guys have already hit it off. So I think you're going to be chewing each other's ears off all weekend at the festival this year, which is not a bad thing. It's great. So we're really happy to welcome Eamon into the festival family of 2026. And we're going to sign off and say good night. And thank you all for tuning in. And we'll catch up with you all soon. And keep a lookout on the Facebook page because we will be doing another announcement very soon. So good night from me.
Good night.
Take care, everyone.
Be
Look
safe.
after yourselves.
Festival of the Unexplained 2026. The 6th to the 8th of November.